Good morning. 1 minute, guys, and we'll be ready to go. Get you some fancy music. Oh, yeah. Good. 8:15. Do we do it? Damn it. 8:15, guys. Come on, man. You know what time it is. Let's get to it. All right. We got this. We got this. I've got this. And I need more caffeine. And I need my blue light glasses. All right. Let's go. And make sure that's good. And all right, I'm sorry. I got a crap ton on my mind. Pulled in 1,000 different directions today. Let's get to it. Let's get to the time to make the donuts. So let's get to the fun stuff. If you are trying to get into the community, please look for a invite this week because I'm trying to get through them all. It does take me time because of I speak to everybody or give everyone the opportunity to speak to me for the onboarding if they want. I don't force them to speak to me. So people are like, oh God, no, that's a selling point. Jesus. But so it takes me time to go through everybody clearly because it's, a 10, 15 minute conversation, you get 100 people or however many, but you guys get it. You know what time it is. All right. So that's, I want to get that out of the way. Please look for that because then it is going to double and it's not going to just be a wait list. It's going to be like a little bit of a smaller, it's going to be like an application in January to get in besides the wait list. Because I really think people that benefit from the community have been trading for a little bit. And those that are looking for like some kind of guru, I'm not your guru. So 675 looks like really where we're at on the SPY. And then let's go take a look at the put. 655 here. So they're moving you up a little bit. I like when we do this live. I think it's way more helpful. Ba-da-bum-bum. I have written all this stuff down, so I know where I'm at. I think it's very good that they're moving you up on this stuff, but they still have a negative bias here. So that's really how I see your big levels. Let's get rid of this. Well, I don't know what how good the blue lights are if I got to look over them. They would be the really big levels on the SPY that I'd be paying attention to, and then we'll go from there. And let me get that out, get that to him. Hold on one second, guys, because I got to put this out there too. And then go to the Qs and make sure we're all on the same page. I think the biggest event today is the one no one's talking about. I really do feel that way. And whenever I feel that way, I'm usually on it. I'm usually fairly right. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I think you have to really watch what Zion says on that conference call tonight. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's over. You know, if Zion's like, it's over, then it's over. If Zion says it's not over, then it's not over. So I really think there's something there that you have to pay attention to. I really do. So let's go take a look at this. Do we care about this? And what about here? Let me just see if there's something else. I do think you have to watch 600 because it's psychological more than anything. But other than that, I think that they're your real big levels. The other thing that you can do with this that I do like doing, and I find great value in it, is dropping a volume profile from here and just seeing where everybody is. Like, you're over it. If you're over it, that's what you're really looking for. Because if you're over it, then you're probably going to test this level. If you're struggling and you're below it, you'll note that it keeps pulling you into that area like over and over again. So I think there's something to that. I don't know that you're getting through 610. I really don't know that you're going to get through 610 this week. You're going to have a lot of rhetoric, man. You're going to need something. And maybe it's Tesla that does it, but I think 610 is going to be a real problem for you. Very problematic. So we've tried a couple times and we keep failing. I'm just not sure today's the day that that's going to happen. So let's just keep going here. Taking a look at the ES, and then I'll take questions. And I might have to go turn this alarm off. You might have to give me a minute here. I might have to go turn this off. I can hear it in the background. I know you guys can't hear it. So this is how I see the fib levels. And then you can kind of see exactly where the call walls and the put walls fit in here. It hit them perfectly and acted on them perfectly the other day, by the way, like perfectly. So I don't know that there's much to say or do or to change there. You undercut, you still haven't broken it, which is a problem, but you undercut this one. And it's not like you're taking out the highs still. Financials don't look great. If you look at XLF, it doesn't look great. Do we see anything else there that's really pertinent? I don't. Let's lift this a little bit. I don't see anything that's overly pertinent that we have to do there. Okay, cool. No. I have a bunch of names I can go through, but let's see where you guys want to take it, because it's been a long time since I just did questions. So we'll throw this out. You're down. Where's the VIX doing? Let's take a look at the VIX real quick. You haven't broken 20 yet, have you? You're over. All right, let's take questions. I think that's a better strategy right now. Because I have a ton. I mean, I could spend an hour going through names. Easy. I don't see anything to do there. Nothing to do there. Right. Okay. Alien comet, sell everything. Well, that's one way to go. The AXP crushed. I think the AXP crushing is absolutely unequivocally huge, and you probably do get follow through on that name. For me, it's a question of, is there enough there to get involved? And there might be, because, they've been in a range and you can see it to an extent, right? So if we drop the pin here, John, test Matumbo, test, fights it over. They start saying, do we want to hold this? Does the consumer have a problem? And Amex is like, hold my beer. We're raising prices, and this is where this is going. So you kind of knew it was going to be a good quarter when they said we're raising prices, right? So I think the synergies of AI and just even these kinds of companies is grossly overlooked. So, and if you really got super technical, left head, right neckline, tries to get over, retest the neckline, and then goes. This could be a big trade. And because you look how weak the left shoulder is, right? Like this would be the left shoulder part of it. It's inverse. And look how big the right shoulder is. So this could be a monster trade, I think. I think this has a lot of long-term potential. You just have to be willing to go through that, but I think it's there. Apple, you finally got your upgrade cycle. You're probably going to break out. I owned it back here. I traded it out. I'm happy with the trade. I don't know that I need to be buying it when it's banging its head in here. I think you have some stuff above there that you might want to look at. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you're going to just run right through this area up here. So, I don't know that that's an area you're just going to blow through. I'm just going to mark it off from my own education so that I remember it. But I don't see that you're going to go through that, man. I really don't. What else you got? Yeah, I mean, what I like about Amazon is today's probably the day to really look at getting involved with it. Here's why I say that. If I go look at the RSI, and here's the 4, and we're kind of beaten down, right? And let's go throw this in here so we can say it. So we're kind of beaten down. We're kind of in this level, where maybe we're gonna hold, maybe we're not. The stock's up and AWS crashed. So I've got negative news and the stock's actually doing what? Bidding up, right? So whenever I see something like that, I want to pay very close attention to it. Very close attention to it. Why? Because you should be going down. So if I have negative news and I'm not going down, you might be washed out in the short term. So, a bounce to 225 ahead of earnings. What a great place to shake and bake people, right? Right into earnings. So if you go and look at it on the hourly, you've been dropping, but the RSI isn't. So it's a matter of time before the 4 catches up with it, in my opinion. I don't know, you got to rush right in, but I think it's super interesting. Like if you looked at the chart, right, and you said to yourself, like, all right, well, if I get above here, for example, which is, that 230, let's call it 214. Let's say I get above that area, right? So I get above there. 214. Your stop is 217, which is really where, or 211, which is really where you were down here. So what's it cost you to take a massive, I'm not telling you what to do, but what's it cost you to take a massive position there? And if you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you're right and you can catch it, move your stop up and protect it with options or whatever, you got one heck of a position going into next Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday are huge next week, right? You have the Fed and you have Meta, Microsoft. You got them all next week, right? So that makes a little bit of sense, doesn't it? To me, it does anyway. So kind of go from there. What else do we have here that's super, super interesting? That's really where I'm at. Okay. What else you got? That's all we have. That's interesting to me because I think you want to position that. I think the bar for these names is really low. ELDN. What's up, Ty? I don't know why it's moving. You seem to be a pharmaceutical company. Maybe you have a new drug. Maybe you're going to get fast tracked. There's so many of these little guys right now. I think you have to kind of figure out which one you want to be in and if that makes sense or not. I don't know that it's one that I don't know enough about it to talk intelligently about it. I do know that you're not above higher highs. So I know that it's not something that I would be getting involved with. RVMD. Yeah, I like this. I actually bought this and took a loss. I bought it here and it reversed and I didn't like anything that was going on with regionals. It scared the bejesus out of me because that's the thing. Like if regionals have a problem, it becomes a problem of how far spread is it, right? So again, what does that mean? We'll find out tonight, but Zion's tonight and they're bidding it up like, oh, everything's fine. And maybe it is. Maybe it's like a one-time event. But you have all these other guys that are in the private credit space and they're getting smoked. So, I don't know, man. I don't know that it's just like, oh, come on in, everything's fine. CVNA, like some of these names, like watch this one. And he went right to the 55 again and just completely, utterly rejected. Like you couldn't have rejected harder there. So it's definitely of interest. So what does this have to do with, RVMD and those kinds of names? I just think you need to be careful because if they come in, they're going to come in hard. I think you have plenty of room to run in this kind of name. I like them and I like what they're doing. I like that they're fast tracked and I think people should be looking at that for sure. I definitely think people should be looking at that. Wolf and these kinds of names like the Wolf, I would be super careful with this stuff because you have major competition now. You still have capacity constraints, but I would want to see how that shakes out. These things have moved a lot, man. Like when you go take a look at IREN and what we made off of that trade, from 25 to 60 in like a month and a half, you're up 150% on equity. It's a move. That's a big move. And I'm not saying it's not sustainable, but I would watch that. Critical minerals makes more sense to me. I don't know that I need to be in there for the secondary move. I think I might start looking at the primary names and kind of going from there. NVTS, everybody knows what's going on now. I don't really see the edge in the trade, but every bar has been green. So you can always use low of the day and then kind of go from there and see how it plays out. And that'd be one thing that you could do. Let's keep going through these, see if we can get to everybody. Cisco. What's up, Lynn? Happy Monday. Yeah, I don't know about Intel. I know a lot of people are like giddy for Intel because they want to see what they're going to say about the government. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to say. They're going to say whatever they say. Like I heard Bloomberg talking about today, and they're like, as a government official, going to be on the call. Like, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go, but it's definitely something to pay attention to for sure. And it's definitely something that we have to look at. So but I actually think it's super interesting that Amazon's up on bad news. And, you start getting 5 days out, 5 business days out. Well, that's where they're going to play with this stuff. That's where they're going to start buying it. So we'll see what happens there. All these websites are down, the stock's bidding up. What's that tell you? Now, maybe they're going to just, pummel it. AMD, that pig, you guys love this. It actually looks fantastic, but I don't know that you want to rush into this stuff. I don't know that what the hurry is. The one that makes the most sense to me out of all of them, and I will say this, I don't really have anything up here till like 250. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I have some stuff up here at 280, and I thought that was the call wall. Sometimes I do the call walls manually, like I just look at all the data. You got some stuff up here. You could pin to that 280. That can go. I don't know that it's the one that I would play. I mean, personally, I'd be more interested in some of the other names in that space. It ends on the 30th officially, but we're getting there. Bitcoin, super interesting. I think that you did hold yesterday. I think you held pretty well. On Friday, I did buy this at the close. Obviously, I'm happy this morning. I'm surprised it's not up more, but yeah, that's definitely something that you could be paying attention to. So give me a second, guys. This thing's buzzing in my ear, this alarm I have. So just give me 2 seconds. I got to run the other room and shut it down. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll be right back. Let me click this one, and then I'll be right back. 5 minutes. It probably won't even be 5 minutes. But what I'll do is, did I put that up there? Did that work? Show it. Give me 1 second here, guys. I want to just go run the other room and turn this thing off, and then I'll be right back. What should I do? Should I just do the starting soon one? I'll do the starting soon one. I'll put the music on. Give me 1 second. Be able to hear me again. Good. All right. Sorry about that, but I'll just leave that door open. It's fine. I don't know that that's over, that move, but I do like the way you acted. So if I start over on this and I went to a bear, just complete bear chart and just looked at price. And sometimes I find this super helpful. Like I'll literally just go to bars. Anyone's going to look at that and think, what? Failed H, right? Like this is why sometimes it's so helpful to just strip everything off of it and look at the least amount of variables. And the least amount of variables you can have is open, high, low, close. If this could work, that'd be fantastic. So you're not really over the failed H until you get over 115, but that's a failed H. Now you don't have to undercut it. I would like to have it undercut, but it doesn't have to. So I do think there's something going on there. Yeah. If you really study the pattern of what's happening, you broke down, you did the undercut, you lifted. And then if you look at this price point from here over, and I'm just going to drop a line on it for the 4-hour mark, say it. And so you battled that the whole time. I mean, you battled that from Friday at 12 all the way over to Sunday at 4 o'clock. And then that close became the open and you never looked back. So if I was to tell you what I'd focus on, it's that level right there, because once you flipped it, that was it. That became what? Support over and over again. So I don't know how technical you're looking at Bing, but 100%, it does feel like there's a bottom there. Now maybe you come back down and test this area, but it does look like a failed H to me. So that's how I would really be looking at it. Until it tells me differently, it's a failed H. and this was liquidation. I would like to have undercut these liquidations. Like that would have made me feel way more warm and fuzzy about what's going on out there right now than anything else. It just would have. So that's kind of where I'm at. Let's get rid of the little banner too. Let's go back to this. Yeah, I'm not. What's up, Tariq? I'm not really that interested in gold anymore. I think it's completely played out. If they want to rush into it, go for it. But I really like. I don't know, man. I'm not rushing into that, and it very well could go again. And I wish them the best. But to me, like I was looking at this stuff like Newmont and these names. I'm like, man, these things are setting up to be shorts of the year. So a lot of this stuff is like really overdone. So yeah, I really like this stuff. What I would be doing is like this. So like if I can run up and then I come back and I undercut here, I probably am putting a major short on. In other words, if I run up and then I reverse back down and then take this out, you're probably going a lot lower. And if you mark off that whole trend from July on, it's been perfect. So once you break that, your long-term trade on this comes down to like here. And the real question that I think people need to be asking themselves on this trade, like if you take a look at the gold trade, right? Okay. If we take a look at the gold trade, let's go take a look at the gold trade. Let's do it together. And we got out of this. We made like $50 by the time we got out of it. And we might have made more. Actually, we made closer to 60. But here, let's do it this way. And I'll show you where my head is with this. So here's gold, right? Let's turn that into a line. Yay. And then let's take the dollar. All right. And then let's look at this on an hourly basis. So you're going to see an inflection right here in October. And in that inflection, what are you noticing? That when the dollar drops, what happens to gold? It goes higher, right? So gold goes up by like 2x when the dollar drops, all right? So again, if we look at this on a longer time frame and you go back to 25, when did gold start lifting? When the dollar dropped, right? So the dollar dropping is giving people a concern. No matter where it is, the dollar dropping is giving people a concern, and they're going out there and they're buying. So whether we take these smaller spots where it's rising and then look for the things, and you're going to hedge into it. So I'm not worried about that side of it, but watch when you take a look at this now and what the dollar is doing. So if I go and take a look at DXY and I go there, I clean this off, you're getting stronger. So for how long this goes on, I don't know, but you see the undercut right here? See the RSI? So you're bottoming in the dollar. Now, if the dollar bottoms from this drop from 25 on, which has been from here, hold on, from like 25 here right down to here, what are you down? 12%. So as the dollar deteriorates, people are buying gold. If the dollar stops deteriorating, banks are going to stop buying more gold and they're going to start buying US denomination assets again, which means US equities, US bonds, because they don't want to buy the dollar and then also lose money on the equities. But if the dollar goes higher or stabilizes, then they're good, right? That just makes sense, right? All right, cool. So that's really how I say it. Give me a second here. I got this thing on. It's moving. So that's how I see gold. I had a big position in gold, probably the biggest position I had in years, which really wasn't that big compared to some of the gold bugs in the room. And I'm 100% out of it. Consumer discretionary to me, like I was looking at some of those names, bro, and you're hitting these call walls, you're rejecting. I'm looking at this. I took probably my greatest loss of the year is consumer discretionary. It was this trade. And, you know, I got out in the mid 70s and my cost was like 90s. That was my single greatest loss of the year. And I was building this huge position in it. And even when I was up in it like 10%, I didn't take any. I bought it in here and then it came down, got filled, and then it came all the way back up. And I just wanted to build it because of what's going on out there. But consumer discretionary, I don't know, man. There's like, you start looking at these names like, you know, Lulu and their $100 shirts, or, you know, A&F and AEO, and they're not lifting. Like, I know why Carnival came in. Like, I get that, right? I was shocked to hear what they were doing with the whole EBT scandal. Like, I had no idea. So I understand like why these cruise lines could come in, because like they got rid of a huge portion of their discretionary revenue. So like, I got that. But I don't know why we're seeing that with this side of the market. And I understand that they're cutting rates and that's going to ease it, but it does not seem like we're getting anything there. It seems like they're really believing what Nike said, like the consumer's got issues, and not just like these kinds of issues where, you know, you don't want your $14, you know, latte that gives you diabetes, but like, oh, I don't want to buy those new running shoes, that kind of thing. So I think that's pretty interesting. And I definitely think it's something for us to really look at and think about. So that's really where my head is with that one. It really is. It's like, I don't really know about consumer discretionary. I did look at the XLP names. And there were some names there that I actually listed in the community. The one that made the most sense to me was Walmart, the way it was acted because of that break. Man, allergies are killing me down here. I never had allergies before, but they really kicked in. Maybe too many cigars with the allergies. I don't know. There's Costco. I don't know, man. I don't know that I'm going to be out here buying, like swinging around Procter and Gamble and Clorox right now. You know, it doesn't really seem like that's the thing. What I always do with this, dude, because like what you're asking, right? Like, here's a great way to think about this stuff, right? I always look at it and go wants versus needs. So here's my wants, XLY, and what I need. So I don't need a new suit, but I need soap, right? So then I look at that and go, that wants versus needs, and go, all right, well, maybe you're on to something because we just got toppy again. So maybe you are on to something, right? Like maybe, like that's where that divergence was last time. And I'm starting to get that divergence up in here again. So maybe you are on to something. I am concerned about the consumer, and I'm concerned about regional banks. And I think we're going to learn more tonight. And the one thing that I don't think people are making enough big deal about is Zion and their call tonight. I think it could be an issue. And you could have a problem with a regional bank this week. And I think that's a larger issue. So, God, I'm funny. All right, hold on one second. Good morning. ALB. Let's go take a look at that. ALB. And I am going to start wrapping these up at 9, guys. I have to. Give me 1 second, guys. I got a trade on. Suppose no one's bringing this up. They refiled. Maybe nobody cares. What are you going to do? Come on, tough guy. What are you going to do there? You would think that you would get up to here. See it? Bonk, bonk, bonk. I don't know that you would stop there on that breakout. 947. I think you get to 984. There's a bunch of crap in here, isn't there? Let's see what you do. What are you going to do, tough guy? What are you going to do? Give me 1 second. All right, cool. I think you're going to have an issue at 260. Yeah, I mean, I tried to buy this, and I was early, and then it flipped. And I'm concerned about going into earnings now with it because I don't have the right position on. But you did hold that 100, and there was a perfect bar here. I bought this one. It reversed. I lost money. I got out. Really should have gone back in right here with that as the stop and tried again because it held. I don't know. I don't know. Are people not going to the store anymore? It seems kind of crazy. But the calm to me, this is what you're really looking for, this kind of stuff, because it's telling you where that bottom is. Earnings bad. What happens? No one cares. They buy it. Earnings bad. Can't even get to that level, right? So that's telling you you have a floor. It's telling you that there's a floor there. So whether or not you want to listen to it, well, that's up to you, right? But it's telling you that there's a floor there. So we'll see. I don't really know that there's much to say. I would look at this as a whole. And I would look at this and say to myself, do I really want to play in here right now? And you see a ton of battling going on with the volume. Like if you go and look at the volume historically, let's clean it all off. Look at your volume historically in that area. Like you've never had volume like that. And what you're having here is a complete battle of I'm selling and then these guys are buying that much back and it's not going up. And then they're selling again and it's not going up. So this has had a massive run. I mean, if you take a look from the April lows to here, you don't have the Fed behind you anymore, guys. So some of the stuff people will run out of money. I mean, you're up what? 200% from the bottom on the sector. At some point, man, you'll be some FOPO support, maybe. Yeah, no one seems to care. Offering WWR offering. Do they have an offering? Do they? WWR. 173. I don't know. I mean, go for it. Yeah, I already covered it. I think you have to watch them. I don't think you have to rush into them, bro. I really don't. I think like if you came to me and said I'm a long-term investor, I don't think you can go wrong here or wrong with the other one. Personally, I can only give you my opinion. I can't give financial advice, but like I don't think you can go wrong if you're wanting to buy these things and forget you own them. I think if you're going to try and trade them, I think you're going to get more gray hair than you bargained for, and I think you're going to have a problem. Al could have an issue. Al could have an issue. RPEL. REPL. So I think you're getting in there, man. I own this, so I'm playing it, but I got to watch my level. See how it hit my level, and now it's rejecting right there. Thank you, little British guy. Bunch of people are trading Cliff this morning. I didn't see it. I would say this. You see these pockets? They're getting buyers. It's getting stronger. I didn't listen to it. I don't know anything about it. I know a couple guys in the room are whacking it around already. I'm not one of them. Some of these guys know that company cold, and they're buying this morning. So I don't know, maybe there's something to it. I'm behind on that one, man. Owl is not something I'd be going. I would really want to understand this. These guys spoke at a private event, and their stocks got crushed after that private event. So they spoke this day on Wednesday on a private event, and the next day Al got killed. ARES. You spoke at a private event on Wednesday. The next day you got slaughtered. So, what really pisses me off is I could have gone to the damn event and I didn't, and I should have. Anyway, what else do we have here? You have earnings this week, man. So you're rolling the dice. So I don't know, man. You got earnings. Flip a coin, man. LTI. Yeah, it does have there. Yeah, I don't know that it's going to go anywhere, bro. I kind of agree with you. I think you're in that range. No, I would be careful there. Like, we got stopped out of all this. I was fortunate enough to have well over a double in Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. I'm sorry. I don't remember these symbols. My head goes right out the door as soon as I'm in them. As soon as I'm done, they're over in my head. So, but I was up like 70% in this one, and then I was up a double in the other one, and I trimmed them. Pulte's like his boy, right? Like, him and Pulte are close, and they're both developers. And Pulte came to him and said, I don't know how viable this is for these companies to go public. So you have somebody that's very close to him that's telling him he might have an issue. And I mean, we all know one thing about the guy. He doesn't want to hear no, and he doesn't want to hear that he's wrong. So if that dude's going to do that, there must really be an issue there, because he wouldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? So what's Pulte's like? So if you think about it, what's his upside to that? He's just better off being a yes man and saying, yeah, absolutely. But when he looked into it, he's like, yeah, there's no way these things can go public. And so I don't know what that means. And if it does or it doesn't. If they don't go public and they don't then these things are going nowhere, and it's an issue. So I don't have those positions anymore. SMC, I care less about. New product. You want to go look at a new product? Go look at AVG on what they did. What's up, Christopher? I think they are too, bro. I think you're dead right on that. They're off sides. I like the IBB. I think you have to pick your names. I think you're better off picking your names than anything else right now. That's how I see that. I would pick my names more than anything else. That makes so much sense to me, dude. So much sense. I just needed to get smoked. There's a couple names I really want to buy. I just need to get smoked. Then I get it up, and then when I see something shiny, squirrel. Sorry, bro. I think I looked at it. I don't see it. Won't be the first time. I don't see it. I don't see what. I mean, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say, buddy? I don't see it. Yeah, I trim some there. We'll see. I think it's still going to go. What's up, Steven? Oh, you're welcome. Have a great day, man. RVMD, totally. Yeah, I like that whole space, dude. I like that whole space. If you're on that fast track, I think Rhythm's on that fast track too, right? Isn't Rhythm on that fast track too? So like any of those names that are being fast tracked, I would be looking at. Micron looks like a beast, but you're going to run into a wall here. And I'm curious what it does on that wall. So, but there's a wall there, bro. It doesn't mean that it stops, but yeah, I was looking at that. I was looking at this too. Like they're going to go, both of them. This kills me because we had this nailed at like 50. And then I was doing something else. God knows what, right? ARC-G, they're not all in there, but ARC-G makes a lot of sense. Now, I bought ARC-K. I've owned this thing on and off for a long time, and I bought it, and like people always like complain about her. I don't get it, man. Like if you look from the bottom up, you're up 100% over. Like it's crazy. But, so ALAB's got real issues. So I don't want to get too technical on this. ALAB, if you take a look at this and we look at this level, the most important thing that I could say about it is that when you're at that level, right, you really need to understand why you dropped the way you dropped. And so what I would do is I'd go look up this name, and then I would Google Thor Ultra, and then go look at the product and how that competes with ALAB. All right, guys, later. Make good choices.